So there's a problem, and that problem is that the world's broken and bad things are happening. It doesn't seem like much of a problem. It's a big one. It's been going on for a long time. Hey guys, it's Josue back with another JJ Bible TV video. We're just trying to live life the Bible way, right? The way God intended it to be. So if you like this video, go hit that like button. If you like our channel, go hit the subscribe button and turn on post notifications so that you always know exactly when our next video is coming out. But with that being said, we have a problem. And that problem is that this world is broken and a lot of bad things happen in it. And when you say that to yourself, it sounds, oh no way, it's very obvious, right? But it's a problem that we've always had. And problems are a lot better when they're fixed, right? And you might be saying to yourself, no, life's great, the world's fine. And if that's you, if that's your case, good for you. But for most people, it's easy to acknowledge that the world is broken. The world is broken, right? And when you say that, the question that immediately comes to my mind is, who broke it? Who messed it up, right? Who messed it up in the first place? And that's when a few multiple choice things come in for a lot of people. Some people say it's God, right? God made it. Well, shouldn't the world be perfect, right? If he's supposedly in control of everything, why does he let bad things happen? Why do these things go on? And so before we keep going, let's turn to our Bibles. If you want to see where I'm reading, I'll be in Genesis chapters, the end of chapter 2 and the beginning of chapter 3. Because this is where sin first entered into the world, right? So it's a good place to examine it and to see kind of where it all starts. Many people, everyone has maybe a different answer for this question, right? Some people, their first answer is God, right? They say, God's in control of everything, and God supposedly, he has all the power in the world. Why does he let this happen? It must be his fault. But as we see here in chapter 1, if you go to the end of verse 12, it says, it's talking about the third day when God was creating the world, and it says, and God saw that it was good. And then if you go down to to verse 18 in chapter 1, it's talking about the fourth day, and it says, and God saw that it was good. The fifth day, verse 21, the end of the verse, it says, and God saw that it was good. So as God was creating the world, he created the world, and it was good. It was perfect. So it wasn't really God. God did not intend for the world to be this way. God didn't say, you know what, I'm going to make a world where countries are corrupt, where people suffer, where families are torn apart, where big accidents happen and the world just kind of is crumbling in on itself. It's not what God had intended. God had intended this perfect world for us. So then we ask ourselves, okay, it wasn't God, right? God intended for the world to be perfect. And what if it was the devil? Well, then let's go over to chapter 3. And in chapter 3, it talks about that temptation, right? And how the devil tempted Adam and Eve, specifically Eve. But it wasn't his fault. While he did the temptation, right? And while you may have a temptation in your life that is most likely a cause of the devil, it's not the reason for why we sin. Leads us into our next answer. That kind of just leaves us. We're the ones who fall for the temptation. The temptation to do what? The temptation to sin. And here's where we kind of have to stop and sort of define sin. Sin is, for many people, it's a whole list of do this, don't do that, don't kill people, and don't lie, and make sure to be obedient to your parents, and don't do this and don't do. And while yes, it kind of is that, sin is a lot more than that. Sin is when we think that we know better than what God knows. Just like Adam and Eve did, they thought that by eating that fruit that the serpent or the devil tempted them with, that somehow it would result in a better plan than what God had originally planned for them. And that sin is when we think that we know what's better than God, and we turn away from God. Because the consequence of sin is death. So if we have death, what the opposite of death is life. And in the Bible many times it says that God is life. So when we sin, we're going away from that. This question of who broke the world, who ruined it, it's us. Adam and Eve here, they thought that they knew better than God, and they sinned. And on a daily basis, many times we think we know better than what God has set, and we sin also. And with 7 billion people doing that every day, it's a pretty tough world. So we have this problem here, right? The world's broken, and we did it, and it's just chaos. So what can we do about it? Where's the solution? I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you clicked on this video, because the Bible gives us a solution, and that's in John 3:16, right? For God so loved the world. God looked down on this world, and He felt sorry for us, because this isn't what He made. This isn't what He intended for. And I know here on this channel we use that verse a lot, but it's because it's a powerful verse. For God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth on Him should not perish, shouldn't have to suffer the ultimate consequence of sin, right? Which is death, but should have everlasting life. That's how God intended for it to be. He didn't intend it for all this chaos and all this disaster, and He didn't intend for a world in where people are questioning, why is it so messed up? God intended was life, and He loved us so much that even when we messed everything up, He was willing to give His Son for us. He was willing to sacrifice for us and give us that new everlasting life. Alright, so I talked about Jesus as a solution in this video, and if you want to know more about that, we made a video about that. Click the card, that should be right here, and it'll take you to that video. If you like this video, there's a like button for that. If you have something to say about this video, there's a comment section for that. If you like our channel, there's a subscribe button where you can see more content. And if you just want to tell someone else about this video, you can share it with them using that share button. And we just hope that you guys have a Merry Christmas, and stay tuned for upcoming videos.